Thank you so much. And thank you to all. A special thanks to the panelists, our great esteemed panelists, and to the SOFA team for the hard work to make this second report a reality. As you all know, this is the first time ever we do two SOFAs on the same topic. And I think it has been a great experience and a lot to do, and a lot still to do. So summarizing such a rich discussion in just a few key points is not easy task, but I will do my best. But before that, I think it's important to say that we still, I think, not totally realize how transformative this work is and how it will be if we do it properly and continue working on this. Really, my hope and my belief and why we make this decision to do two consecutive SOFAs is that it's not only normative, but it also will have significant implications on the transformation of our agri-food systems. So for me, we need to keep pushing and raising the importance of this work and trying to see how we can really move this forward to an implementation phase. As I review all the notes based on what you have taken, I have a few themes that I want to highlight and to stand out. So first, a challenge. This SOFA report confirms last year's findings that hidden costs of agri-food systems are a challenge everywhere and makes the case for a coordinated effort. We heard in the presentation that the hidden costs likely amount to around $12 trillion, which is equivalent to 10% of the global GDP. Addressing these hidden costs can only happen by engaging the different stakeholders of our agri-food systems, as Marcel mentioned, producers, agribusiness, governments, financial institutions, private sector, and consumers. And I am grateful that the panelists share their views from this different perspective. Bringing this perspective forward in a coordinated manner is key to ensure agri-food systems provide sustainably produced, nutritious food for all now and for the generations to come, what we call, and our motto, of good food for all for today and tomorrow. Second, heterogeneity. The report acknowledges the different and distinct agri-food systems categories which face unique challenges. And to do so, this report analyzes results through a lens of different agri-food system types. And this is one way to do it. There could be many more types, but I think it gives us an idea of the differences that we have, like the graph shown in the presentation comparing the countries in protracted crisis with in the industrialized cases. One aspect that struck me is that countries and territories in protracted crisis, one of 6 categories, bear the greatest burden of hidden costs, particularly environmental and social costs. These costs are comparable to 47% of average GDP of countries in protracted crisis. Improving how these agri-food systems function can deliver huge benefits. Now, this is related to one of the answers provided by Andrea, and we need to understand that some of the costs are local, with local consequences, and that will be the case of social costs, and the case of the health costs, because they affect directly the human capital of the country. But others are global, and this is clearly the case of the environmental costs. And what we are observing in these protected crisis countries is that internally the environmental cost is a significant share of the GDP, but in absolute levels will be a small amount relative to the global impact. But also what is inherent is that we are looking at environmental costs today, which are a consequence of what has happened also in the past. So looking into stocks of emissions, for example, could be a good way to look forward on how we can implement policies which are more balanced across the different income levels of countries in the world. This diversity, of course, will require tailored agri-food system transformation strategies with interventions that address the specific needs and characteristics of each agri-food system type. Third, health. This report rightly highlights the importance to address the health hidden costs, which account for 70% of the total hidden cost. To do so, it further breaks these costs down into 13 specific dietary risk factors to enable countries to build more targeted and effective policy interventions. We saw that low consumption of whole grains and fruits and high intake of sodium are the leading dietary risks related to non-communicable diseases at global level. As such, they stand as a present challenge that we must confront. However, the composition of the risk factors varies across agri-food system types. As we saw, protected crisis and traditional agri-food systems face very different health challenges from formalizing and industrial ones. And this also opens us a box and a direct link to what we are trying to do with the roadmap of SDG 2 without reaching the 1.5 degrees Celsius. This diversity shows once again that solutions need to be tailored to the problem at hand. Fourth, how, and most importantly, the report focuses on the how to enhance the value of agri-food systems to society. The panel discussion has discussed and highlighted this a lot. As already mentioned, the report stresses that delivering more value to society requires coordinated action involving producers, agribusinesses, governments, and financial institutions, private sector, and consumers. The challenges in addressing hidden costs is that this can result in uneven impacts across stakeholders, countries, and timeframes. And again, it's important to separate what is a public damage to a public good and what is a localized damage because of these hidden costs. The report outlines how supportive policies and regulations can help to minimize disruptions, particularly for small-scale producers and agribusinesses. It proposes a number of entry points of action based on a set of case studies. And in this respect, I would like to highlight the potential of harnessing the purchasing power of food procurement through institutions to reshape food supply and improve food environments. Fifth, data and tracking progress will be extremely useful. We need to see how things evolve over time and how these hidden costs evolve over time. I hope they will be reduced over time. And that's something that we can only do if we track this properly with data. And that's an investment that FAO will have to make a decision if we can continue updating these numbers in the future. And it, of course, will depend on the decision of our members. Six, actions of today have a consequence tomorrow. And as it was mentioned by one of you, the journey just began. Because what is important here is the last mile. So we have started to open this box and bring in all this light on the size, magnitudes, and differences across different countries, depending on the evolution of the agri-food systems, of what these costs are. Now, the issue is how we can convert this into action that will influence by actor, producers, agribusinesses, consumers, and we can gain efficiency and sustainability. For example, in the case of producers, how we can start to bring these results into the training and extension services so that we can use our inputs more efficiently to minimize the potential externalities. To the government, how we can present to them the importance of the intertemporality of these issues, that what they do today and the support they provide today, or the subsidies they provide today, could have an impact tomorrow. And if they don't resolve it today, that will increase their cost in the future and will affect their own economies. So the intertemporality will play a crucial role, and that's something that we need to bring up and try to work with governments to try to change the way of thinking only of today, but not thinking on tomorrow. And not understanding that how we act today will also affect our tomorrow. Private sector, the same way. We need to start bringing more responsibility and trying to make them understand what are the consequences of their actions. You know, the agri-food system is a sector that depletes. It's a sector that affects our nature. It's a sector that affects our environment. And we need to internalize those costs in the way we operate. This is like an investment. We do an investment and we damage something, we have to have a fund to be able to recover what we damage. So I think it's really important to bring this logic of the life cycle of our actions to the projects that we do and the investments that we do so that we can behave more responsible in terms of our investments. And finally, of course, consumers and the health issues and the non-communicable diseases, because their choices today will affect their future tomorrow. Yes, of course, this will also create a cost to the society and a cost to the social security and a cost to the governments as a consequence, but also will create a cost to your lives and how you will evolve in the future. And this has an impact on labor productivity for sure. So trying to change behavior is also another action that we can start moving based on what we are observing in this work. The second dimension is to look by typology, because we need to capture heterogeneity. And that requires us to look at what Switzerland is doing in their case study and trying to see how we can scale this up. If there is an avenue in which we can work with other countries and other types of countries to start showing the power of this information in capturing also this diversity and heterogeneity, because this will also affect the way we act today to impact the tomorrow and will affect the policies we do. Colleagues, this has been an extremely useful meeting and launch and panel. And to conclude, for me, the takeaway message for moving forward is that it is possible through targeted actions to enhance the value of agri-food systems for society, both today and for the future generations. However, we will need stakeholder engagement to discuss trade-offs that this will be taken over and will be implemented. It will be not simple, but the ideas in the report and those I heard from our panelists will help us chart the way forward, finding solutions that are tailored to the local context. Our motto, I think, is crucial on the work that has been done here. Good food for all for today and tomorrow. But we need to act today so that we can have that better tomorrow. Thank you so much.